Leo. Leo. You all know me by now. Some whiskey with lime and honey for my chest, my lungs. I'm giving love to my lungs. I'm so sorry that I got to you, but you know the funds, the donations have not been coming regularly. So when that happens, I have to stop what I'm doing because I'm getting ready to go back to Italy. I'm not going to be in Rome. I was in northern Italy. Now I'm going to the boot, way down to the south. And from there, go to North Africa, Carthage, the legendary Carthage. So I will be doing my Astrocon conference in southern Italy on November 25th. I'll be there for 5 days. So I want my Italian subscribers to be in Puglia. I'll be in Puglia. No? So I'm going to give further announcements once we get closer to the date. I'm excited. I will be speaking in Italian. Okay? So, and I speak Spanish and French and English and other languages very fluently. So I will be talking Italian. I gotta, it's a little rusty, but I can't wait. Okay? I just can't wait. uh, that's on the 25th of November. So for those of you who are Italian, I hope you guys are there, and non-Italian alike. Okay, I want you guys there, and I'm very excited about it. What else? I am still trying to go to Miami, Palm Beach to meet Victoria and KJ. The retrograde has been beating my ass. It's been terrible. Oh my God. I don't give a fuck. I'm going to get to Palm Beach before I leave to southern Italy in a couple of weeks. And then, of course, I got the seminar in Detroit. And that'll be on January 29th in the city of Detroit. I will be doing a seminar, Astrocon there. So, and it's on the 29th of January. I've already set up my Eventbrite. So, guys, it's $50. It's 2 hours. You know, it'll be fun. I'm going to explain some stuff to you that you're not going to know or get anywhere else. So, you've got to be there. You've got to be there. Okay? So, thank you for the donations. Let me read off the people who have been so generous and so loving and giving me the donations. So let us go into and read the donations, okay? The retrograde, it's been, so far so good. Although I'm still a little nervous. But so far, it's been so good. So I'm pulling up the screen. So let us talk about the people who have been donating. Okay. Mario Flores from Guatemala. Hello, Guatemala. Allison Collier um, gave another hefty donation. Thank you. Uh, Dana Molina. John Roberts. Fabiola Baeza. Mary Giles. Shafika Berry. I love you. I love the name Shafika or Shafiqua. Michael Davis has given another $20. He's always gives, always. So again, guys, thank you so much. You know, telling you, you guys are awesome. You know, you're just awesome. You know, you gotta give yourself a little clap. Okay, Leo. Oh my God, Lilith in Leo. It's about fame, attention, beauty, and it's about being number one, being first. When you have Lilith in Leo, you can't get more narcissistic than Lilith in Leo. When Lilith is in Leo, you don't see anyone. You don't see anything. It's all about you and nobody else. When you are a Leo with Lilith and Leo, you want to be the best dressed, the best good looking, have the best food, being the best surrounding, being surrounded with the beautiful ones. Now, as you are also a member of the beautiful ones, you exude class, regality, expense, but totally empty inside. Lilith, Leo. Oh, the beat. You know me already. Oh, this Scotch aged Scotch. Delicious. Delicious. So, with Lilith and Leo, there's a propensity for self-inflation, self-inflated arrogance. When you are when you're born under the sun, understand that the sun knows and has no consciousness outside of its own self. What did I mention before? If you live in the sun, you don't see the other planets. You don't see the stars and the rest of the universe. Because the sun, the light of the sun, has you so absorbed and so insulated in your own reality, in your own subjective reality, because it's not even the reality that we all know. Leo lives in a parallel reality, as quiet as it's kept. And living in this parallel reality, the Leo man or the Leo woman is able to function in a way that doesn't lend credence for other people to prove. Now, understand what I'm talking about that. So let me split this in two ways. When we're dealing with the lower evolved nature of Lilith and Leo, we're dealing with someone that usually, the Leo person, uh, probably comes from abuse, neglect, and invalidation. When that occurs to the Leo man or the Leo woman, and they grew up with a sense of inadequacy and sense of incompletion, because here's the thing, you have to be able to give praise and give adulation to the Leo man or the Leo woman. That's what they want. And psychologically, for their psychological well-being, they need that affirmation or validation of who they are. Not just who they are. I think what's more important when you have Lilith and Leo is that the person wants to feel worthy and wants other people to treat him with worth. The problem is, does the Leo person deserve that? Did he put his dues or her dues in order to receive those accolades and that kind of adulation? Or is it empty? Is it just for the glory and the feeling of the moment of adulation and aggrandizement and to be loved and complimented and blah, blah, blah? Is that something that is supposed to be happening on a continual basis? And if it does, what is the platform like? Maybe you're an actor, a musician, and you're a concert pianist, where that kind of adulation is constant. Listen, you do 2 performances a day, you're gonna get adulation and praise 3 times a day, depending on the audience. Okay, so the Leo person wants to live a life, his private life, whether or not he has a public life. The private life will be very demanding and it will be a microcosm of the macro. If the person, let's say, enjoys fame, beauty, and glamour and grandeur on a large scale now by people, let's say, in the industry, the music industry, the film industry, or even the government sector. And so they get to be larger than life in an environment that's not their own. Uh, Sammy Davis Jr. Let's talk about Sammy Davis Jr. and the Rat Pack. I'm 52 years old, so this speaks to my generation. It doesn't speak to the young generation. So you know what? Let me skip that model and let me choose another model. Let me talk about Ariana Grande, Rihanna. What's the other one? Selena Gomez. Young millennials. Okay, you see the grand exposition of their music, their prowess, their greatness. But do you really believe and feel that they are still like that outside of the spotlight and outside of the screen, being so young? So the answer to that is no, they're not. Lilith in Leo allows you to hide your arrogance and your narcissistic tendencies, and you lash out and show your pomposity to those who are inferior to you, to those who cannot fight back or are completely ignorant about who you are. And therefore, that's a leverage, an upper hand that the Leo person has. Kind of like the Capricorn Lilith, where you have to feel superior and have people around you that you know are intellectually inferior that you can subdue and control. It's like an entourage of people that are that never fit your caliber, but that suits you just fine because you can dominate and control them, and therefore it makes you look a certain way. Now, so we don't want you to use the energies like that to commune with human beings. It's not a communion; it's a collision with other human beings, and it's so narcissistic and so sociopathic. But understand that when we have a Leo moon or Leo sun person conjunct Lilith that goes through these experiences, understand that that's not without design. The person was probably abused or molested, and now he has been put in a spot where he has to conquer his own Nemean lion and transcend the things that are plaguing him, hurting him. And another thing, when you're born with Lilith and Leo, there's a tendency to be in control of everything around you. And if you're not that type of person that's in emotional control, you will seek the emotional control of others to rally them up on your side to cause a change in public opinion, an overthrow even, just to effectuate your cause, whatever cause may be. The Aquarian man is extremely exposition. Yep. Yep. Understand that this is the premise behind the Lilith in Leo. Now, the Lilith in Leo is very subtle in its expression. It's not overtly out there like you would think. A word or two about pride, because pride is another situation with Leo. Leo is very prideful, and the prideful can get him into a lot of trouble with Lilith in Leo. He will fight and almost do like a duel, and fighting can cause him to feel great, feel elated, while at the same time destroying his opponents who might be weaker than he is. So is it a fair fight? It might not be a fair fight. It might be a cheap fight. But Leos will gravitate to that because it gives them a certain level of leverage. Look, I want to fight. I want to fight. Give him what's due. Well, it's not really a fair fight if you are so overwhelming that you can defeat any opponent. Can you? So understand that the Leo narcissism borders on so many other disciplines. Oh, the beat. Okay. So understand that to be able to homogenize that energy, because that's the word that we use, homogeneity. If you homogenize, love and hate, inconvenience and follow through, kindness to harshness, if you are able to balance that in a human being, then it's okay. Because that person will, it's they're talking to me and they want me to delineate it a certain way, but I don't want to go by what they're telling me because it just seems too generic. The reality is that the Leo Lilith placement can be so subtle that you don't think that there's anything wrong with the position of the placement. The reality is that with Lilith and Leo, you just don't know. You just don't know if the person is going to accumulate the energy of the food to take her back to that space where she becomes fighting and abusive. But understand that that may very well needs to happen in order for healing to occur at a very basic and intrinsic level. Lilith in Leo. So, having said that, how do we bring the Leo person to a point of balance, to have him realize his own point of balance? Because there's so much self-involvement and so much narcissism with Leo that the Leo person has to embrace the opposite polarity, which is the Lion Leo, where it can be a source of creativity, a source of collective works that can help other people advance according to their own disciplines. This is something that will not occur with Pisces. You have to be pushed for Pisces to do that. It's very, very, and I say Pisces because Pisces also correlates, believe it or not, to the Lilith North Node. And there tends to be a correlation between Leo and Pisces in the sense that the lion here engages in very powerful self-undoing. And it's almost like a promotion of self-sabotage. And that's something that we see inherently and clearly in Lilith in Leo. Okay? Now, Let's break it down into the sexes. Okay. With Lilith and Leo, we have to look at the vanity, which connects to Pisces. And the vanity here is, again, you gotta be the most loved, the most dressed, the best looking, the best dressed, the best everything and anything. In fact, no one should have attention in the bars. I should be. So we're talking about someone or something that is not clearly defined in Leo. Believe it or not, it's quite complex, Lilith in Leo, because the pride, the bigotry, the arrogance are there, and that could be unleashed upon anybody. Another thing that is very, very common with um, Lilith and Leo is bigotry. And you would never think about that, but bigotry, racist comments and things like that, of that nature, falls in Leo. It does. So there's a propensity for bigotry, arrogance, and false pride, where the person can be pretentious, a liar, just enough to fit in. And that's a form of subterfuge. Yeah, let's let that sink in. A lot of the principles of Pisces that I'm talking about may not be fully understood, but they want us to discuss it. I think so. And we're done with that. Now let us this energy is very heavy. Very, very heavy. Um Dealing with the attention. Let's talk a little bit about the attention. You know, autographs and spotlight, all of that falls in the Leo, and that's part of the narcissism or the narcissistic profile, the self-adulation and the self-centeredness, to the point where you don't see anything else, you don't see anyone else. You know, you live for the moment and for the people in your life that are supporting you and sustaining you for that moment. But then you throw them off and discard them. And this is one of the situations that can occur when you have Lilith and Leo. You can dismiss people, discard people, and be a real big cantankerous bully that just won't let no one be at peace if you're not at peace. So when you're born with a Lilith and Leo, you really prefer to be with people that like you, love you, and show you that love and show you that affection. The shadow aspect of this position of Leo and Lilith and Leo is that the level of narcissism and vanity and megalomania, okay, is so intense that people are afraid to touch you with a 10-foot pole. Anyone. Uh, if the buttons are pressed of a Leo man or woman, they're going to roar and try to fight you and kill you to death. Understand that this is a very moody sign, but a very beautiful sign indeed, because its requirements are simple. And once those requirements are met, the Leo woman or the Leo man, once they get sufficient adulation, sufficient attention, will be able to move on. It's important that they embrace their opposite polarity, which is Aquarius. All that self-inflation, all that self-absorbed energy can work better if it's funneled towards the collective. And Aquarius, if he's sufficiently evolved, will do that because that is the way that one should go when trying to understand Aquarius. Aquarius is beautiful. You must understand that there's a polarity with Leo. and we're done with the shadow of Leo. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad.